If you find yourself acting to impress others or avoiding action out of fear of what they might think, you have left the path. The Stoics understood that acting to impress or cower from action out of fear of judgment makes us puppets, controlled by the ever-changing opinions of others, and thus the Stoic rule is clear. True power comes only from within, from the unwavering loyalty to your principles and dreams. What if the key to success, peace, and true fulfillment lies not in chasing external validation, but in focusing on yourself and staying silent? The Stoics believed that self-mastery is the foundation of a meaningful life. They taught that by cultivating inner discipline and avoiding unnecessary noise, we can achieve clarity, wisdom, and lasting contentment. Focusing on oneself is not about selfishness, but about creating a life built on self-awareness, intentionality, and discipline. Many people spend their lives seeking approval from others, constantly measuring their worth based on external opinions. But the Stoics remind us that true power and fulfillment come from within. The art of self-focus and silence helps us to recalibrate our priorities, break free from the cycle of external distractions, and nurture our inner potential. In a world that thrives on noise and constant stimulation, silence becomes a revolutionary act. It allows us to reflect, to recalibrate, and to redirect our energies toward what truly matters. Silence creates the mental space needed to cultivate wisdom, sharpen focus, and engage with life's challenges with a clearer perspective. Throughout this video, we will explore how focusing on yourself and maintaining silence can transform your life. We will examine practical Stoic exercises that reinforce inner resilience and discuss the profound impact of self-reflection in personal development. By adopting these timeless Stoic principles, you'll gain valuable tools to navigate modern challenges while remaining steadfast in your journey of growth. Lesson 1. The power of silence in self-improvement. The Stoics valued silence as a tool for introspection and self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Silence allows you to turn your attention inward and reflect on your thoughts, emotions, and desires without distraction. When you practice silence, you create space to listen to your inner voice and make thoughtful decisions. In addition to self-reflection, silence fosters clarity of thought, allowing individuals to declutter their minds and prioritize what truly matters. It strengthens patience and helps in cultivating a calm and composed demeanor in the face of adversity. The Stoics believed that by practicing silence, one could develop greater self-control, emotional intelligence, and resilience against external influences. Furthermore, it enables individuals to truly hear others, fostering deeper connections and understanding in relationships. Moreover, silence allows us to detach from external expectations and societal pressures, providing a sense of freedom and autonomy. In moments of silence, individuals can explore their true passions, set meaningful goals, and align their actions with their values. The Stoics emphasized the importance of deliberate silence as a pathway to personal growth and wisdom, urging us to embrace quiet moments as opportunities for self-discovery. Beyond its mental and emotional benefits, silence also contributes to physical well-being. Studies have shown that practicing moments of silence can reduce stress levels, lower blood pressure, and improve overall health by fostering a sense of calm and mindfulness. Embracing silence in daily life can also boost productivity, as it helps to minimize distractions and sharpen focus on important tasks. Additionally, silence promotes better sleep, enhances creativity, and nurtures a greater sense of gratitude and appreciation for life's simple pleasures. Cultivating a habit of silence does not mean avoiding conversations altogether, but rather knowing when to speak and when to listen. Developing the ability to remain silent in challenging situations helps to prevent impulsive reactions, allowing space for thoughtful responses instead. Silence can also serve as a powerful tool in negotiations and conflict resolution, demonstrating wisdom and composure. Spend 10 minutes each day in complete silence, observing your thoughts without judgment. Notice patterns, identify distractions, and redirect your focus toward personal growth. Gradually increase this silent time and incorporate it into different aspects of your day, such as morning routines, commutes, or before bedtime, to reinforce mindfulness and self-awareness. Additionally, consider practicing silence during conversations by listening attentively and speaking only when truly necessary. Lesson 2. The art of mindful focus. Focusing on yourself means being fully present in your own journey. The Stoics believed in concentrating on what you can control. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you eliminate external distractions and focus on your own progress, you gain clarity and purpose, fostering a deeper sense of fulfillment and direction. This approach encourages personal accountability, ensuring that your growth is a result of intentional actions rather than external circumstances. It empowers you to take ownership of your progress and make informed choices based on self-awareness and discipline. Focusing inward allows you to cultivate a deeper understanding of your strengths and weaknesses. It provides an opportunity to align your actions with your values and establish a sense of authenticity in your daily life. The Stoics emphasized that by staying committed to self-improvement and tuning out unnecessary external noise, one can build resilience and confidence in navigating life's challenges. This self-awareness serves as a guiding force that helps you make more informed decisions, respond thoughtfully to adversity, and cultivate a greater sense of inner peace. This process of reflection and growth builds a strong internal foundation that sustains long-term personal development and ensures steady progress in all areas of life. The journey of self-focus also fosters self-acceptance, helping you recognize that growth is a gradual process that requires patience and persistence. Additionally, focusing on yourself enables you to develop a strong sense of independence. Instead of relying on external validation or comparison, you begin to find satisfaction within your own progress and personal growth. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes from mastering your thoughts, emotions, and actions, rather than chasing fleeting moments of recognition from others. By shifting the focus inward, you build an unshakable foundation of self-worth and confidence. This independence allows you to approach life with a sense of autonomy, making decisions that are driven by personal conviction rather than societal expectations. It fosters the ability to stay true to your path, even when faced with external criticism or doubts. Over time, this independence becomes a source of strength, allowing you to cultivate an unwavering sense of inner peace. Furthermore, focusing on yourself helps to eliminate the tendency to compare your journey with others. Comparison often leads to frustration and dissatisfaction, but when you center your attention on your own goals and growth, you free yourself from unnecessary pressures and distractions. The Stoics believed that true contentment is found in self-mastery rather than external achievements or social approval. Through regular self-reflection and intentional goal setting, you can ensure that your actions align with your core values and bring you closer to your desired outcomes. Over time, this focus fosters an intrinsic sense of motivation and purpose that keeps you on a path of steady progress, enabling you to set higher standards for yourself and pursue continuous improvement without external pressures. Each step forward reinforces your commitment to growth and fulfillment. To truly focus on yourself, it is essential to practice mindfulness, in everyday actions. Whether it is in your career, relationships, or personal growth, being fully present in each moment helps you develop a clear sense of direction and fulfillment. Mindfulness helps anchor you to the present, allowing you to savor each experience without being burdened by past regrets or future anxieties. It trains your mind to remain focused on what truly matters, helping you to resist distractions and external influences. The discipline to remain centered on your own path without seeking validation from others is a testament to inner strength and wisdom. Incorporating mindfulness into your daily routine ensures that your journey of self-improvement remains steady and sustainable, fostering a lifestyle built on consistency and intentionality. The more consistently you practice mindfulness, the more it becomes an integral part of your approach to life, strengthening your ability to navigate challenges with clarity and confidence. Make a list of things within your control, e.g., attitude, effort, and things outside your control, for example, the opinions of others. Direct your energy toward what you can influence. Additionally, establish a daily mindfulness routine to stay grounded in your journey, such as morning reflection, deep breathing exercises, or setting specific intentions for the day. Lesson 3. The discipline of staying silent. The wisdom of staying silent lies in observing more and speaking less. Seneca advised, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." By staying silent, you avoid unnecessary conflicts, gossip, and distractions, allowing you to focus on your goals without external noise. Silence helps in building patience and fostering better relationships. When you listen more and talk less, you gain valuable insights into the thoughts and perspectives of others. It allows you to process information more effectively and respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. The Stoics believed that practicing silence cultivates emotional intelligence, helping you remain composed and balanced in difficult situations. Additionally, choosing silence over idle talk ensures that your words, when spoken, carry more weight and credibility. Silence also provides an opportunity for deep introspection and self-reflection. When you embrace moments of quiet, you can assess your values, actions, and goals with greater clarity. This inward focus helps you develop a stronger sense of self and fosters emotional resilience. The Stoics believed that silence creates the necessary space for wisdom to flourish, as it allows you to detach from external influences and concentrate on what truly matters. In professional settings, maintaining a composed and silent demeanor can enhance your reputation as a thoughtful and reliable individual. Leaders who practice active listening and measured speech are often more respected and trusted by their peers. Silence gives you the opportunity to observe and understand dynamics, making informed decisions rather than reacting based on incomplete information. It also demonstrates self-control and confidence, both of which are highly valued in leadership and interpersonal relationships. Furthermore, silence can be a powerful tool for self-preservation and protecting your energy. Engaging in unnecessary conversations or responding to negativity can drain your mental resources. By choosing silence wisely, you maintain focus on your priorities and cultivate an inner sanctuary of peace. Additionally, silence can help regulate emotional responses, preventing you from becoming entangled in conflicts that do not serve your growth. The practice of silence also extends to digital interactions. In a world where social media encourages constant communication, taking intentional breaks from online conversations allows you to preserve mental clarity and refocus on personal goals. Limiting exposure to online debates and unnecessary engagement creates more room for mindful living and purposeful interactions. Challenge yourself to a day of intentional silence. Speak only when necessary, and observe how it affects your mental clarity and interactions. Consider extending this practice to various aspects of life, during work meetings, social gatherings, or even in online interactions, to build mindfulness and discipline. Incorporate silent reflection into your daily routine by setting aside dedicated quiet moments to evaluate your thoughts and align your actions with your long-term objectives. Lesson 4. Building inner strength through solitude. Solitude is not loneliness. It is an opportunity to connect with your true self. The Stoics often retreated into solitude to cultivate resilience and self-sufficiency. When you embrace solitude, you strengthen your inner world and develop an unshakable sense of self-worth. Solitude provides a sanctuary from the constant demands of modern life, allowing you to reflect on your values, goals, and emotions without interference. It helps you build a deeper understanding of yourself, making you more self-reliant and confident in your decisions. Through solitude, you gain clarity on your true aspirations and develop a profound sense of inner stability that can guide you through life's uncertainties. Moreover, solitude serves as a powerful tool for creative exploration and problem-solving. When you spend time alone, your mind has the freedom to wander, leading to fresh insights and innovative ideas. Many great thinkers, artists, and philosophers have credited solitude with fostering their most profound work. It also allows you to break free from societal pressures and expectations, helping you discover what truly matters to you and what aligns with your core values. Solitude offers the mental space necessary to reimagine possibilities, refine your vision, and nurture the creative aspects of your personality that often get overshadowed by external distractions. In addition to fostering creativity, solitude enhances emotional resilience. By spending time alone, you can process your emotions without external influences, leading to greater emotional intelligence and stability. This practice helps you face challenges with a calm and centered mindset, enabling you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It allows you to cultivate patience, as solitude teaches you to be comfortable with yourself and your thoughts without seeking constant stimulation from external sources. Practicing solitude also strengthens your ability to self-soothe, an essential skill for navigating life's ups and downs. Learning to embrace solitude with self-compassion can transform how you handle stress, setbacks, and uncertainty, fostering a deeper sense of self-trust and emotional balance. Furthermore, solitude provides an opportunity to focus on personal growth and self-improvement. When alone, you can engage in deep introspection and evaluate your life choices, helping you develop better habits and strengthen your resolve. It enables you to set meaningful goals and work on them with renewed clarity and determination. Solitude creates a space where you can experiment with new ideas, explore your passions, and embrace self-discovery without fear of judgment. It provides an opportunity to course-correct and reassess your life's trajectory with fresh perspectives. This self-directed approach to growth fosters independence and the confidence needed to stay committed to your long-term aspirations. Spending time in solitude also enhances your ability to practice mindfulness and gratitude. When you disconnect from the constant noise of the world, you become more attuned to the present moment and appreciate life's simple joys. This increased awareness helps you cultivate a sense of inner peace and contentment that carries into your daily interactions and decisions. Solitude fosters a deeper connection with nature, helping you recognize the beauty and harmony of the natural world, which can serve as a grounding force in your life. The appreciation for stillness and nature nurtured through solitude can become a lifelong source of inspiration and inner harmony, reinforcing a sustainable path toward personal fulfillment. Schedule regular periods of solitude in your daily routine. Use this time for journaling, meditation, or self-reflection. Consider engaging in activities such as walking in nature, practicing mindfulness, or reading thought-provoking literature to deepen your connection with yourself. Challenge yourself to longer periods of solitude, such as weekend retreats or silent days, to further enhance your self-awareness and personal growth. Experiment with different environments and approaches to solitude, such as spending time in a quiet library, taking solo trips, or dedicating a few hours to creative expression. Lesson 5. Cutting out distractions and noise. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. The Stoics believed that mental clutter weakens our ability to focus on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius warned against being tangled in unnecessary actions. By eliminating distractions, you free up mental energy to pursue meaningful goals. Distractions come in many forms: constant notifications, endless scrolling through social media, and engaging in unproductive conversations. These distractions not only drain our time, but also cloud our judgment and divert our attention from essential tasks. The Stoics advised that true fulfillment comes from focusing on what aligns with our values and purpose, rather than seeking fleeting pleasures or external validation. In addition to external distractions, internal distractions such as self-doubt, overthinking, and worry can also impede our progress. The Stoics taught that by mastering our thoughts and maintaining a clear mind, we can achieve a greater sense of focus and direction. Training the mind to remain undisturbed by external noise allows us to cultivate resilience and a sharper sense of purpose. To combat distractions effectively, it is important to establish clear boundaries, prioritize tasks, and adopt a minimalist approach to our daily routines. The practice of eliminating distractions is not about depriving oneself, but about creating an environment conducive to meaningful work and personal growth. Identify your biggest distractions, for example, social media, unnecessary conversations, and create a plan to minimize them. Set specific time limits for screen usage, designate distraction-free zones in your workspace, and practice mindfulness techniques to stay present and focused. Regularly evaluate your progress and make adjustments to ensure sustained improvement. Lesson 6. Cultivating self-discipline. Self-discipline is the foundation of focusing on yourself. Without it, your efforts can easily be derailed by temptations and external influences. The Stoics practiced self-discipline in all aspects of life, from their thoughts to their daily routines. They believed that self-control was the key to achieving inner peace and fulfillment, emphasizing the importance of developing habits that align with one's values and long-term goals. To build self-discipline, it is crucial to establish clear priorities and stick to them with unwavering commitment. This means resisting short-term gratification in favor of long-term growth. The Stoics advocated for a structured approach to daily life, where discipline becomes second nature through consistent practice and reflection. They emphasized the importance of routine, recognizing that small, deliberate actions accumulated over time lead to profound transformation. Moreover, self-discipline involves cultivating mental fortitude to navigate the inevitable challenges and setbacks in life. It requires the ability to delay gratification, endure discomfort, and stay focused on one's goals, even in the face of adversity. Developing this trait empowers individuals to act with intention rather than being swayed by fleeting emotions or distractions. The practice of self-discipline also extends to emotional regulation. The Stoics taught that mastering one's emotions is a vital aspect of self-discipline, enabling individuals to respond to situations with calmness and reason rather than impulsivity. This leads to better decision-making, stronger relationships, and a greater sense of inner stability. Set small, achievable goals that challenge your self-discipline, such as waking up earlier, exercising regularly, or maintaining a healthy diet. Create a structured daily routine that includes time for self-reflection, focused work, and rest. Track your progress and adjust your habits as needed to ensure continuous improvement and resilience. Lesson 7. Strengthening mental resilience. Focusing on yourself requires mental resilience to withstand external pressures and criticism. The Stoics believed that resilience comes from accepting adversity as part of life and using it as an opportunity for growth. They understood that every challenge is a test of our inner strength and a chance to cultivate patience, wisdom, and perseverance. Building resilience involves embracing discomfort and viewing setbacks as stepping stones rather than barriers. The Stoics often reminded themselves that the only true control we have is over our thoughts and responses. When we shift our perspective to see difficulties as opportunities to build character, we become more grounded and capable of facing life's uncertainties with confidence. Mental resilience also requires maintaining focus on long-term goals rather than getting distracted by short-term hardships. It involves cultivating a sense of inner stability, learning to filter out negative external influences, and staying committed to personal growth despite obstacles. The practice of resilience is a daily effort to strengthen mental fortitude and develop an unwavering sense of self. Furthermore, practicing gratitude in challenging times can significantly enhance resilience. By focusing on what we can appreciate even in adversity, we shift our mindset from one of victimhood to empowerment, aligning with the Stoic principle of finding contentment within. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Reframe obstacles as opportunities to build mental toughness. Additionally, keep a resilience journal where you document challenges, your responses, and the lessons learned. Reflect on your progress and use each challenge as an opportunity for self-improvement. Lesson 8. Embracing self-awareness. Self-awareness is the key to personal growth. The Stoics encouraged deep self-examination to understand one's strengths, weaknesses, and values. Seneca wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." Focus on understanding yourself before seeking to influence the world. The practice of self-awareness requires intentional effort and a commitment to truth. It involves regularly assessing your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to identify patterns that may hinder or support your growth. The Stoics believed that true wisdom comes from recognizing our limitations and striving to improve with each passing day. Self-awareness is not just about recognizing faults, but also about celebrating progress and embracing your journey of self-discovery. By developing self-awareness, you gain clarity in decision-making and a deeper understanding of your motivations. It allows you to align your actions with your core values, ensuring that you remain on a path of authenticity and integrity. Moreover, self-awareness fosters emotional intelligence, helping you navigate relationships with greater empathy and understanding. One powerful way to enhance self-awareness is through solitude and reflection. The Stoics often retreated into solitude to engage in honest self-examination, free from the distractions of daily life. Taking time for yourself, away from the noise of the world, can lead to profound insights and a greater connection with your true self. Keep a daily journal to reflect on your thoughts, actions, and areas for improvement. Write down your achievements, setbacks, and lessons learned. Additionally, schedule regular moments of solitude to deepen your self-awareness and ensure that your actions align with your true values. Lesson 9. Practicing humility and letting go of ego. The need for external validation often stems from ego. The Stoics emphasized humility as a way to stay grounded and focused on self-improvement rather than impressing others. They believed that true wisdom comes from acknowledging our limitations and continuously striving to become better individuals. Humility allows us to recognize that we are always learning and evolving, and that seeking approval from others can distract us from our true purpose. By cultivating humility, we create a sense of balance in our lives, reducing the emotional turbulence caused by the constant pursuit of validation. Furthermore, practicing humility fosters a sense of inner peace by reducing the need to prove ourselves to others. It helps us develop genuine confidence that is not dependent on external recognition, but instead rooted in our own self-awareness and growth. The Stoics taught that true greatness lies in the ability to remain humble in both success and failure, understanding that external circumstances are fleeting and beyond our control. Embracing humility also enables us to approach life with an open mind, continuously seeking wisdom from every experience and interaction. Humility encourages a deeper connection with our authentic selves. When we let go of our ego, we gain a clearer perspective on our strengths and weaknesses, allowing us to make more informed decisions. It empowers us to accept constructive criticism without defensiveness, using it as an opportunity to refine our skills and perspectives. The Stoics remind us that humility is not about diminishing our worth, but about fostering a mindset of continuous self-improvement and adaptation. In addition, humility plays a crucial role in building stronger relationships. When we practice humility, we listen more attentively, empathize with others, and foster meaningful connections built on mutual respect and understanding. It allows us to step beyond our personal biases and truly appreciate the perspectives of others, leading to more harmonious and collaborative relationships. The ability to embrace humility in relationships helps us to resolve conflicts more effectively and build deeper, lasting bonds. Finally, humility serves as a powerful tool in personal and professional growth. In the workplace, it enables us to be more receptive to feedback, open to learning new skills, and willing to work collaboratively without letting pride get in the way. In our personal lives, humility allows us to cultivate gratitude for what we have, fostering a sense of fulfillment and contentment. Through humility, we shift our focus from external approval to internal satisfaction, aligning our lives with our true values and aspirations. Practical application. Practice humility by acknowledging your mistakes, listening to feedback, and focusing on continuous learning. Make it a habit to express gratitude to those who offer guidance and support, and regularly reflect on how you can improve yourself without seeking validation from others. Lesson 10. Living with purpose and intention. Ultimately, focusing on yourself means living with purpose and intention. The Stoics believed that a life driven by virtue and meaning is the highest form of fulfillment. Living intentionally requires a deep understanding of what truly matters to you and having the discipline to pursue those priorities with unwavering commitment. It means consciously choosing actions that align with your values, rather than being swayed by external pressures or fleeting desires. Living with purpose involves a continual process of self-reflection and refinement. It demands honesty in assessing your strengths and weaknesses, and the courage to make changes that support your long-term vision. The Stoics encouraged individuals to strip away distractions and superficial pursuits, focusing instead on what brings lasting fulfillment and inner peace. Developing a sense of purpose requires discipline and persistence, as well as the willingness to explore new opportunities and face uncertainties with a determined mindset. By setting clear intentions and taking deliberate action, one can cultivate a life rooted in authenticity and wisdom. Purposeful living involves embracing continuous learning and growth. The pursuit of knowledge and self-improvement is a lifelong endeavor that enriches our understanding of ourselves and the world. Engaging in meaningful activities that challenge our abilities and expand our perspectives contributes to a more purposeful and fulfilling existence. The Stoics remind us that growth often comes from discomfort, and that facing challenges with an open heart leads to greater wisdom and resilience. Taking calculated risks and stepping outside of your comfort zone can further deepen your understanding of what truly brings fulfillment. In addition to personal growth, living with purpose enhances your ability to inspire and uplift others. When you lead by example, embodying virtues such as integrity, perseverance, and gratitude, you create a positive impact on those around you. The Stoics believed that living a virtuous life not only benefits the individual, but also contributes to the greater good of society. Encouraging and supporting others on their journeys while remaining steadfast in your own purpose fosters a sense of interconnectedness and shared growth. This interconnectedness fosters collaboration, compassion, and mutual growth, creating an environment where all can thrive. When you live with purpose, you create a sense of direction and fulfillment that extends beyond material success. The Stoics taught that true happiness is found not in wealth or status, but in living in accordance with nature and virtue. This means consistently evaluating your goals and ensuring they reflect your inner values rather than societal expectations. Purpose-driven living empowers you to overcome obstacles with greater resilience, knowing that each challenge is an opportunity to strengthen your character. It allows you to cultivate a deep sense of inner satisfaction that no external achievement can provide, reinforcing your confidence and self-worth. Moreover, living with intention involves setting clear, meaningful goals and working steadily towards them. The practice of reflecting on your progress allows you to make necessary adjustments and stay aligned with your values. It also encourages resilience and adaptability, helping you stay focused even when facing challenges and setbacks. Intentional living fosters a mindset of growth, helping you remain proactive in shaping your own destiny rather than reacting to external circumstances. It provides a sense of ownership over your life, reinforcing the importance of responsibility and self-awareness in all your actions. Define your core values and align your daily actions with them. Regularly review your progress and adjust your path as needed. Create a vision statement that outlines your long-term goals and values, and revisit it frequently to ensure you are staying true to your purpose. Practice mindful living by engaging in daily reflection, gratitude exercises, and goal tracking. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals who share your values and can support your journey toward a purposeful life. Focusing on yourself and staying silent is a profound journey of self-discovery, resilience, and empowerment. It is about embracing the wisdom of the Stoics, practicing self-discipline, and cultivating inner peace to rise above the noise of the world and lead a purposeful, meaningful life. Silence allows you to listen deeply to yourself and to others, without the constant need for external validation or approval. It is in this quiet space that true growth happens, where you gain clarity on your values, strengthen your character, and unlock your fullest potential. By focusing inward, you develop a strong foundation of self-awareness and emotional intelligence, enabling you to navigate challenges with wisdom and composure. The practice of staying silent nurtures patience and fosters deep introspection, helping you understand your true desires and motivations. This intentional approach to life encourages you to prioritize what truly matters, cutting through distractions and unnecessary noise. Living a focused life means taking ownership of your actions, making deliberate choices that align with your values, and resisting the temptation to be swayed by fleeting opinions or external pressures. The Stoics remind us that the power to shape our lives lies within our control, and by mastering our thoughts and behaviors, we can find lasting contentment and purpose. As you continue on this journey, remember that true power comes not from seeking recognition, but from mastering yourself. Stay committed, stay disciplined, and allow your growth to unfold naturally. Let your silence be your strength, and let your focused actions speak volumes about your character and purpose.